this week, if you came to Wednesday's class, you'll know it's similar theme, so it's still the air theme. So we'll be trying to find some flight in our poses today, so don't let that put you off. But we'll do some heart openers as well, and just be connecting to the breath this morning. So we're going to start lying on your back in inclined butterfly position. There's always option to have the screen on or off, whatever you're most comfortable with. So cool. We'll come down onto the mat, join the soles of the feet together, have the knees out nice and wide. And just allow your whole body to feel nice and rested here. So allow the shoulders to sink down into the ground. The knees to fall out wide. And if this begins to feel uncomfortable, just rearrange. You don't need to stay in this position. Otherwise, just allow the back of the head to feel really grounded. So almost feel like the chin is tucking in towards the chest. And you can have the hands on the belly, the thighs, out to the side, above the head. Whatever feels good for you. If you want to start working into opening up in the chest area, which is what we'll be focused on this morning, it can feel quite nice just to have the hands to either side, almost in a cactus position. And then with this grounding, just take your awareness to the breath. So notice where the breath feels like it's resonating this morning, if it's in the chest, if it's lower down into the belly. And seeing now if you can just breathe in and out through the nose. Starting off nice and softly. So that's our most restorative breath. It's just in and out through the nose, as quietly, as softly as we can. And whilst the body is still, just allow yourself to check in with the mind. Just notice if the mind feels quite busy, if you're unable to focus on anything specific. Just check in and see how it feels, and don't put too much pressure on it. If it does feel busy, that's okay. Just draw it back to the breath. Just knowing that the noticing is the meditation. So not worrying if you do have to keep drawing it back. And then in your next breath, you have the option to straighten the legs if they're starting to feel uncomfortable, or just place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. So again, we're breathing in and out through the nose. But as the element of air is associated with the heart chakra, we're just going to be working into the breath slightly deeper here. So exhale all the breath out of the body. And for one count, breathe into that space in the hands, into the belly first. Inhale. And pause. So hold that breath in the belly. On your next breath, breathe into the chest. Pause. We're going to have one more breath just to top up the whole body. Inhale. Pause at the top, completely full of this breath, and then exhale as long and slow as you possibly can. So measuring the exhalation, always trying to make those exhalations slightly longer. On your next breath, inhale for one count into the belly. Pause. 2 into the chest. Pause. 3, full body. Pause. And exhale long and slow. Really measuring out that exhalation, contracting the belly at the bottom, squeezing all that breath out, and then inhale for 1 count. Pause. Inhale 2. Pause. Final breath, inhale. Pause. And exhale. So carrying this on in your own time, just for a couple more breaths. And we're finding that space, that air in between the breaths there. So finding those moments of stillness. Noticing how the body feels in those pauses. And again, exhaling as long and slow as you can. Good. Do this one more time in your own time. And when you've completed this breath, you can just have the hands to either side of the body. Good. And then your next breath, we're just going to draw the knees back together. If they're feeling a bit achy in the hips, just give them a bit of a hand with the hands on either side of the thighs, and just walk the feet up towards the bum. So coming to our gentle bridge pose, just see if you can touch the back of the heels. We're keeping our knees in line with the hips. Inhale, press into all 4 corners of the feet. Start to gently rise the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Again, the back of the head is grounded and the chin is tucked in towards the chest. So pausing here just for a moment, just making sure our knees haven't been tempted to come out nice and wide. They're still in line with the hips. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly lower down in the spine. Good. Do that one more time. This time, option to have the hands over the head. Inhale. Option to extend the hands up and above the body. Opening up through the chest. And again, pausing here, thinking of the chest rising to the chin and not the other way around. The head is nice and still. Inhale. And exhale, slowly lower down in the spine. And then just allow the hands to come to either side. Good. Now we're going to raise the right leg up and just place the foot over towards the left thigh. So you need to thread the needle. So on your inhale, draw that left thigh in towards the chest. The right knee is out nice and wide. And we're threading the hands through the hole created there. And you can rock from the side to side, just waking up that hip flexor, the hamstring, making any circles that feel good one way and the other way. And you have the option here just to straighten that left leg, so working into the back of that left hamstring. You might want to wiggle the left toes. Again, keeping that back of the head nice and grounded into the mat. Pausing there. Inhale, maybe see if you can draw that leg slightly closer towards the chest. And then exhale, just release that left foot down to the ground. Leave the right foot where it is. Have the hands out nice and wide. And then allow the feet to fall over towards your left-hand side. So a nice gentle twist. So you should feel that connection with the right foot down into the ground. Option to gaze over towards those right fingertips. Pausing there. Good. On your next breath, inhale, softly come back to center. And then exhale, place that right foot down. Swapping sides, so lifting that left foot, placing it over the right thigh. And on your next inhale, draw that right thigh close towards the chest. And we're flexing that left heel just to protect the knee there. Feel free to make some movements here. Maybe some little circles or swaying to one side, the other side. Maybe even rocking the back of the head on the ground. And then option just to straighten that right leg. So working a bit deeper into that right hamstring. Option to give those toes a little wiggle. Good. Have one more breath here. Inhale, drawing the leg close towards the chest. And then exhale, placing that right foot down, hands out nice and wide, leaving the legs where they are. Inhale. And then exhale, I'm going to fall over towards the right hand side. Left shoulder is grounded here. And you can always have a little gaze over towards that left-hand side. Pausing there, one more breath. Inhale. And exhale, softly coming back to center. Good. From here, we're going to come into full happy baby. So we're going to just draw the knees in towards the chest, reach forward and see if you can hold to the outer edges of the feet. If you can't, then maybe try holding the big toes, or finally the ankles. If you can hold on to the outer edges of the feet, then draw the knees in towards the armpits so the hips are nice and wide. It's almost a supine version of a Hindi squat, a Malasana pose. So really thinking of opening up in the groin here. Roll those shoulders back. Options have a little wiggle from side to side, maybe slightly straighten one leg and the other leg. It's always interesting in the morning. Have one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale. Just allow the feet to come down towards the ground. Good. Have a little wiggle from side to side with the knees. And in a moment, we're going to rock up towards a seated position. So when you're ready, just draw the knees back in towards the chest, hold them nice and tight. And then holding on to the backs of the hamstrings, have a few rocks just to make your way up towards seated. And we're going to come straight into a half forward fold or Janu Shirasana. So drawing your right foot in towards the left thigh. Have the hands on either side of the left leg. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, look forwards. And then exhale, start to walk the hands down either side of this left leg, softly forward folding. Good. And again, as it's the morning, don't worry if this feels like you're only really minimally tilting forwards, it doesn't matter. And it can be quite easy here just to cheat slightly by coming into the right hand side. So really think about your right shoulder coming down towards the ground. So you want to be nice and stacked over this left thigh. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. On your inhale, take your right hand open towards the back of the mat, fingertips facing away from you. We're going to press into that hand, lifting up into half wild thing. So left hand comes open above the head, open through the chest. Inhale. And then exhale, soften the bum back down, come straight back into your forward fold. Warming up that hamstring. Inhale, lift that right hand open behind you, making this slightly more dynamic now. Lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling, extending through that left hand. Exhale, taking the bum back down one more time. Forward folding. And your next breath, inhale, right hand open over, pressing into the hands, lift the pelvis up. Extend all the way to tips of those left fingers. And exhale, placing the bum back down. Good. From here, we're going to just draw this right foot over the left thigh, coming to our half Lord of the Fishes pose. Scoop forward with your left crook of the elbow, taking your right hand behind you, and have a little gaze over that right shoulder. So you should feel this down the sides of the bum on the right hand side into the glutes, making sure you're not leaning on this back hand. Inhale, feel nice and tall through the crown of the head. And exhale to twist. Good. Inhale, softly come back to center. And then exhale, just releasing that bind. Right leg comes out in front of you. Tucking that left foot in towards the inner thigh. Inhale, hands on either side of that right leg, grow tall. Exhale, forward fold. Reaching down the leg. Don't worry if you need to keep a slight bend in that right knee. Making sure there's no tension in the neck of the shoulders. And with each exhalation, just softening down over this leg. Have one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. On your next inhale, extend left hand open behind you, fingertips away from the body. Inhale, pressing into that hand to rise up into your half wild thing. Exhale, soften the bum back down. Have a breath. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe working slightly deeper this time. Inhale, coming back to center. Left hand comes behind you. Exhale, pressing into that left hand, extending pelvis up towards the ceiling. Inhale here. Exhale, lower the bum. Have a breath, grow tall. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale to rise. Exhale, press into the left hand. Inhale here. Exhale to lower. Final forward fold. Inhale in center. And exhale to fold. Good. Inhale, softly rise back to center. Lifting that left leg over the right thigh. Scooping forwards with this right crook of the elbow. Gazing over the left hand. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale to twist. One more breath. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale to twist. Good. From here, inhale, softly come back to center. And we're going to roll straight over towards a tabletop position. So rolling over the feet or swinging the feet round to the sides, whichever feels good for you. And then having your wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Make sure that your index fingers are facing forwards here and not the middle fingers, just so you're in a good position for downward dog as well. So roll the shoulders back. Inhale as you scoop forwards, tailbone high, chin up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press into the hands, scooping the belly up. Inhale, roll shoulders back, look forwards, really working with the breath here, maybe closing the eyes. Exhale, pressing into the earth to scoop the belly up. Inhale. And exhale. Going as slow or quickly as you'd like to. We're just working through our cat-cows, giving our back a nice massage. Warming up the spine. Really drawing your mind to those inhalations and exhalations. Feeling the breath in the belly, maybe in the back of the body, in the rib cage. Having one full cycle in your own time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale, scooping forwards, roll the shoulders back. And this time as you exhale, draw the big toes to touch. Arch through the spine as you take your tailbone down towards the heels. So just working slightly deeper in this cat-cow. So almost in a child's pose here. As you inhale, scoop forwards, roll shoulders back. Tailbone high. As you exhale, arch the spine, take the tailbone down towards your child's pose. Inhale, scooping forwards. And the lower you go with your nose towards the mat, the more difficult you'll feel that through the arms. As you exhale, tailbone down. One more time. Inhale, scoop forwards, elbows in. And exhale, arching all the way back into your child's pose. Good. Spend slightly longer here. Take the knees nice and wide. Keep those big toes touching. And slide the hands forward in your extended child's pose. So I quite like to stay into the tips of the fingers, but if you're more comfortable placing the elbows down, resting the forehead, then you're more than welcome to. And feel free to have a wiggle, a sway from side to side. Never feel stuck in a pose. Always just make it unique to how you're feeling this morning. You know your body better than anyone, so do what feels good for you. Pausing there. On your next breath, we're going to press into your right hand just to make some space underneath the shoulder and slide your left hand underneath, so threading the needle in our wide-legged child's pose. And just feel like someone's gently encouraging this left hand over towards that right hand side. So you can feel that left shoulder coming down towards the ground. And you have the option here to leave your right hand out in front of you or take it up towards the ceiling, extending all the way to tips of fingers, or even behind the back. And if you've taken the hand behind the back, you might even be able just to touch the top of the left thigh. So whichever version feels good for you, have one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, softly coming back to center, pressing into that right hand swap inside. So left hand extends forward, make some space underneath the shoulder, and then slide that right hand underneath. Again, imagine someone's gently pulling it over towards that left hand side, encouraging the right shoulder down. Option to leave your left hand where it is, or take it up towards the ceiling, or even behind the spine, towards the top of the right thigh. Finding that space in the shoulders. Have one more breath. Inhale. And exhale, softly drawing that left hand back to center, pressing into the hands. Good. From here, we're going to come back forward into your tabletop position. So just draw the knees back underneath the hips. From here, inhale, roll shoulders back, look forwards, tailbone high. This time, tuck the toes, and as you exhale, come to your first downward dog. So feel your tailbone being pulled up towards the ceiling, and have a little pedal through the feet here. So bending one knee and the other knee. Just warming up the backs of the legs. So doing anything that feels good. Giving the head a yes and a no. Maybe rolling one wrist and the other wrist. And then when you're ready, just come to some stillness here. So again, have your index fingers facing forwards, just so you can roll those shoulders back a little bit more, so you can find that space between the shoulders and the ears. First of all, bend the knees and allow your tailbone to imagine it's being pulled up towards the ceiling, so we have this nice flat spine. And then finally, check the toes and just make sure they're all facing forwards, as again, it can be quite easy for the toes to end up coming towards the outside. So we want the sides of the feet to be in line with the sides of the mat. Almost feeling like our thighs are rolling inwards, so internally rotating. Have one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale. From here, softly lower the knees down towards the ground. Keeping the knees underneath the hips. Start to stretch the hands forward as we open up through the chest. So allowing the chest to come down towards the ground. If this feels too deep, then lower the elbows or make a pillow for the forehead. Just having a couple breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Good. On your next breath, lower the elbows. Look forwards as you scoop into your Sphinx pose. Slide the front of the legs down towards the ground, having the elbows underneath the shoulders or slightly further forward. Pressing into the forearms, but making sure there's no tension in the fingers. Imagine you can scoop the belly button up towards the top of the mat, so you really feel the shoulders roll back and down. Pausing here. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. From here, lower the body completely down towards the ground. We're going to take the hands to either side of the body with the palms facing down. And we're going to do 3 locust pose here. So we're going to inhale, lift the feet, making sure the tops of the feet are still facing down, and lift the hands off the ground. So imagine that you're squeezing something between the shoulder blades at the back of the body. And then exhale, softly lower back down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale to rise, drawing those shoulders back. Imagine someone's drawing the hands down towards the back of the mat. Exhale, soften down. Final time. Inhale to rise. And exhale to soften. Good. From here, place the hands in line with the rib cage. Tuck the toes. On your inhale, we're going to lift the knees, lift the thighs, pressing up into plank. And then exhale, downward dog. Good. Have 2 breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Looking forward. Slowly start to walk your way up towards the top of the mat. Nice baby steps again as you work into the backs of the hamstrings. And then have your feet underneath the hips. Allow the body to be nice and soft. Softly swaying from side to side if that feels good. Yes, and knowing the head. Maybe see if you can start to straighten the legs slightly more after a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, tuck the tailbone down towards the ground. Slowly start to stack up in the spine, vertebrae at a time. And when you're tall, inhale, hands up and above the head, drawing palms together. And exhale in front of the heart center. Good. So now at the top of the mat, feel free to grab a drink or rearrange, pull leggings up, sort your hair out, whatever feels good. And then draw your big toes to touch, heels if they will. Roll shoulders back and down a few times. Good. And then your next inhale, extend the hands up towards the ceiling, warming up the body, grow nice and tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips to shins. Imagine you can balance that plate on the spine. Exhale, bend the knees to have the hands down, stepping back into your plank pose. Have a breath. Inhale. Exhale, option to lower the knees or soften the body down completely towards the ground, so not upward dog, so the body is connected. Good. From here, adding a locust pose into our vinyasa, so having the hands to either side, palms facing down. Inhale, draw the feet off the ground. Hands are lifted, active, being pulled towards the back of the mat. Exhale, lowering down, hands in line with the rib cage. Inhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees, pressing up. And exhale, downward dog. If that press feels too much, just keep the knees down when you press up towards your downward dog. Don't worry about doing a full press there. Have one more breath in downward dog. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Looking forward. Step up. Jump towards the front of the mat. Coming straight into flat back. Inhale. Fingertips to shins. And exhale. Forward fold. Inhale. Grow nice and tall. Active all the way into tips of the fingers. And exhale to the heart center. Doing that sequence one more time. Inhale, hands extend towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees to come to your plank pose. Option to lower the knees straight away or have a breath. Inhale. Exhale, lower down to the ground. Coming straight into your locust pose. Inhale, palms facing down. Open up through the chest, lift the feet off the floor. Exhale, soften the body down, hands in line with the rib cage. Inhale, tuck the toes, pressing up. And exhale, downward dog. Good, have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Looking forwards, inhale, step up, jump towards the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Seeing if you can draw the big toe to touch even here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out nice and wide, grow tall. Draw the palms to touch. And exhale to the heart center. So it should be feeling a little bit warmer now. From here, draw those big toes to touch. Seeing if we can squeeze the thighs together here in our chair pose. Inhale, tailbone down towards the ground. And the hands are in line with the shoulders. So again, just seeing if we can tuck that pelvis slightly. So imagining that our tails are coming down towards the ground. If it feels too much in the shoulders, just lower the hands. Squeeze those thighs together, one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down, stepping back into your plank pose. Option to lower the knees. Inhale. Exhale, soften down towards the ground. Inhale, locust pose, open through the chest. Exhale, releasing, hands down to rib cage. Tuck the toes, inhale. And exhale, downward dog. Good. From here, we're going to inhale as we lift our right leg up towards the ceiling in three-legged dog. Keeping the toes facing down for now so the hips are nice and square. Have a breath. And as you exhale, thread that foot through. We're going to place it in between the hands, coming into warrior one. So we're going to take the stance slightly shorter. The left foot is at 45 degrees. Inhale, have the hands up and in line with the shoulders. So bending into this right knee. That left leg is straight and we're open through the chest. See if you can draw this left hip up so it's in line with the top of the mat, so we're not tempted to have open hips here. So if they had lights on either side, they're both shining forwards. Good. From here, we're going to take our hands behind the spine, so linking all those fingers together. Inhale, see if you can imagine someone pulling the hands down towards the mat. And as you exhale, you have the option just to slide them slightly down the back of that left thigh. So it might be really minimal. You can keep the gaze forward. Have one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back to center, leaving the legs where they are. We're going to feel like someone's now drawing our hands up towards the ceiling. Taking our chest just onto the inside of this right thigh. Pausing there. Humble warrior. Have one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale. Leave the body where it is. Just take the hands onto either side of this right foot. Now you have the option to do a vinyasa, that flow, or step straight back into your downward dog. So if you want to do a flow, then come to your plank pose. Inhale. Exhale to lower down. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale, downward dog. Good. Have a breath together in downward dog. Inhale. And exhale. Good. On your next breath, take awareness to your left foot. Inhale, draw it up towards the ceiling. Toes facing down. Exhale, bend the knee. Thread it through in between the hands. Give it a tug if it doesn't meet there. And then make the stance slightly shorter, back foot at 45 degrees. Inhale, hands up and in line with the shoulders. And this time, seeing if you're aware of this right hip drawing towards the front of the mat. Pausing here. Feel that chest opening. Inhale. And then exhale, take the hands behind the spine, linking those fingers together. Inhale. Exhale, option to slide the hands down the back of that right thigh. Pausing there. Inhale, draw back to center. And then exhale, folding over this left thigh. Thinking of the chest coming on slightly onto the inside of this left thigh, making sure that knee is still nice and bent. We're still active all the way into the very back of that right thigh as well. Have one more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, releasing the hands, placing them on either side of the foot. This time just stepping straight back into your downward dog. Tailbone nice and high. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Good. On your next inhale, just flow forward into your plank pose. We're going to lower the knees here and soften down towards the ground. So we've been incorporating a new pose into our flow, which is locust pose. But there's going to be option here when we do this, either come to our locust pose that we've been working on, so palms facing down, lifting up through the chest, or if you're feeling quite warm in the spine, then just take your feet up towards the ceiling, and then see if you can catch the ankles on either side. So this is coming into bow pose. As you inhale, kicking into the hands, so you're open through the chest. And again, our knees are wanting to keep in line with the hips. It can be really tempting to allow the knees to come out wide. So see if you can keep them drawing down towards the mat. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And then exhale, soften all the way down. Just take one side of the face down to the mat for now. So we have option when we're working through this flow of either coming to locust pose or bow pose. So always just come to whichever one feels good for you. And one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. From here, we're going to place the hands back in line with the ribs. Look down towards the ground. Roll those shoulders back. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees. Inhale to press. And exhale, downward dog. Good. Looking forwards. Inhale as you walk, step, jump towards the front of the mat. Coming into that halfway lift. Inhale. And exhale to fold. Inhale, arms out nice and wide. Open through chest. Draw the palms back together. And exhale, heart center. Good, well done. Roll those shoulders back. Just realign, take a moment to press that reset button. Coming into our mountain pose at the top of the mat. So draw those big toes to touch. From here, we're going to inhale, take the hands up and above the head, but this time hold onto the left wrist with the right hand. Feel like you can grow nice and tall up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, start to tilt over towards your right hand side. So this half moon tilt here. So working into the left side of the rib cage, the intercostal muscles. Pausing there. Inhale, softly come back to center. Swapping sides, so holding onto the right wrist. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, tilting over towards your left hand side. Finding some space between that right shoulder and ear. Our hips are both still facing forwards. Good. And inhale, come back to center. Good. We do that one more time, but taking our leg with us. So we're going to grow tall, hold onto the left wrist, bend the knees here, and then take your left foot behind you, allowing just that outer edge of the left foot to be on the ground. This is almost like a skater's pose. So left foot behind, and then start to tilt over towards your right hand side. So we have this nice arch again on that left side of the body, pausing there. You might feel some fire on the arms here. Inhale, draw back to center. Good. Bending those knees, swapping the hands, holding onto the right wrist, taking that right foot behind you. Outer edge of the right foot is connected down towards the ground. Tilting over towards that left hand side. Pausing there. One more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, softly come back to center. Good. Just take the hands to either side, give them a little wiggle. You should feel it a little bit in the shoulders here. Good. So from here, we're going to bend the knees where we are. I quite like to have my hands on my hips to start off with. So bend the knees where we are. We're going to press into the left foot to start off with. See if you can raise that right knee. We're coming into eagle pose. And we're going to take this right leg over the left. So crossing the leg. And you might eventually be able to cross the foot behind the calf. So you'll have a full wrap there. Don't worry if you haven't. This is actually a personal nemesis of mine. So don't worry if you haven't completely threaded that leg. We're just finding balance there, crossing the legs. And then we're going to take the arms out in front of you, coming to eagle arms. So taking the right arm over the left, stacking the elbows, then seeing if you can hold onto the shoulders, take the backs of the hands together, or maybe even the palms. This is full eagle pose. Have one more breath here, inhale. As you exhale, see if you can leave the arms where they are. We're going to take this right foot behind you, tilting forward to a version of warrior three. So your toes are facing down at the back, hips are nice and neutral. Pausing there, inhale. Exhale, leave the hands where they are. Softly, slowly place this right foot down towards the ground, coming into high lunge. It's a difficult sequence that's just creeped up on us. So feel nice and active into the legs, base of that right heel. Leave the legs where they are. Inhale, draw the hands up towards the ceiling, gaze up towards the fingertips. Exhale, elbows down. Doing that one more time. Inhale, hands up towards the ceiling. And exhale down. Good. Inhale, release that bind in the arms. Have some nice cactus arms to open up through the chest. Inhale. And then exhale, hands into either side of that foot. Option to come to child's pose or downward dog. Or take a flow. If you're taking a flow, come to your plank pose. Inhale. Exhale to soften down to the ground. Coming into bow or locust pose. Inhale. Drawing that chest open. If you're in bow pose, holding onto those feet. Inhale. Exhale, soften down. Hands in line with the ribs. Inhale, pressing up. And exhale, downward dog. So again, always option to come to child's pose at any point. You don't need to do a flow. Just do whatever feels good for you. Have one more breath wherever you are, whether that's child's pose or downward dog. And then when you're ready, looking forwards, slowly start to step, walk, jump towards the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, grow nice and tall. Open through the front of the body, palms to touch. And exhale, heart center. Good, so you're welcome to grab a drink now, if you'd like. Otherwise, just putting back to the top of the mat, drawing those big toes to touch. And getting ready for eagle on our other side. So holding on to the hips if that feels good for you. Really bending the knees, that'll help just to get the leg over slightly more. So bending those knees, looking forwards, pressing down into that right foot. Start to lift that left leg up towards the ceiling. And then keeping that right knee bent, seeing if you can take the left foot over. You might be able to catch it behind the back of that right calf. As I said, this is a personal hated pose of mine, but it's a good one to practice. And taking the hands out in front of you, stacking the left elbow over the right, either holding onto shoulders, backs of hands together, or palms to touch. Feel nice and strong here in the spine, feel that core working to balance. Inhale. And then as you exhale, release the legs, keep the hands where they are, float forwards into your warrior three, so toes facing down. Good, option to have a little micro bend in that right knee. Inhale. And then exhale, left foot is coming down into your high lunge, so hips are facing forwards. Really working that openness through the back of the body, feeling that breadth in between the shoulder blades. On your inhale, feel the hands floating up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, the elbows are coming down to center. Do that one more time. Inhale to rise. And exhale down. Good. On your inhale, release the hands to either side, cactus arms, open through the chest. And exhale, hands on either side of the foot, option to take a flow, or come to child's pose, downward dog, whatever feels good for you. Tailbone down towards the heels if you're in child's pose, tailbone up towards the ceiling if you're in downward dog. Just having a couple breaths. Good, having one more breath where you are. Inhale. And you exhale, all meet in child's pose. So lower down onto the knees. Allow the body to soften. Either make a pillow for the forehead if it doesn't quite reach comfortably towards the ground. Or extend those hands forward. Option to have the knees wide or keep them underneath and in line with the hips. Whichever feels good for you. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. On your next breath, we're just going to come back to downward dog. So again, making sure those index fingers are facing forwards. Tuck the toes, tailbone nice and high. Have a pedal here and make any movements that feel good. Have a sigh. Whatever feels nice. And then when you're ready, looking forwards, we're going to step the left foot between the hands. So taking a nice big step. Again, giving it a little tug if it doesn't reach there. We're going to flatten the back foot to 90 degrees. So we're making our way into warrior two. So inhale, windmill that hand up and over. So our left hand is forward, right hand is back. And we're gazing over the left third finger there. Feel the openness in the hips. Our left knee is tracking in line with that second big toe. And really feel this external rotation of this right hip. So what can happen is the right knee can end up kind of drawing inwards. So feel like you're wanting this to come outwards so our hips are nice and open. Having one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. On your inhale, we're going to flip the palms, straighten the legs, and then take your toes to face the long side of the mat. So they're both facing forwards. And then exhale, hands to the hips. So we're facing the long side of the mat. Roll those shoulders back. Inhale. And exhale, tilting forwards. We're going to hover halfway. So keeping the hands onto the hips. You can have a micro bend in the knees here. Pausing there. So you have the option either to keep the hands onto the hips, or if you want to work more in the shoulders and extend those hands forward, drawing that belly button in towards the spine. Have one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. From here, we're going to fold completely. So allow the spine to feel nice and heavy. Relaxing the arms down to the ground, swaying, giving the head a nice yes and no. Good. From here, we're going to press the left hand down in front of us underneath the heart. As you inhale, extend the right hand up towards the ceiling. Like feeling that gentle twist in the spine. Inhale. And exhale, coming back to center, swapping sides, pressing the right hand down. Inhale, extend left hand up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, coming back to center. Good. From here, leave the hands where you are. Just take the feet to 45 degrees, so to the corners of the mat. And we're just going to start to work into Skandasana. So we're going to walk the hands over to one side, bending the knee, and just walking to the other side. So you can have the option to keep the heel underneath you onto the ground, or if that doesn't feel comfortable, then you can lift off the heel. So you can think about drawing it closer in towards the groin. So whichever feels most comfortable for you, just working on opening up through the inner thigh and the groin here, just softly walking from side to side. Good. And then when you're ready, walk over to your right foot. So bending that right knee, option to lift the heel off the ground if that's more comfortable. From here, place your right hand down and extend your left hand up towards the ceiling. So we're having a little gaze over towards your left fingertips, pausing there. Inhale. Good. As you exhale, look towards the top of your mat. We're going to be walking into a half moon balance. So we're going to walk the hands over to the top, keeping that left leg bent. Take your left hand out in front of you and see if you can lift up into our half moon, our crescent moon. So toes are facing outwards, right hand is up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Option to bend this left leg if it feels too much. As you exhale, coming back into your warrior two, so heel is down, facing now the front of the mat. Pausing here, it's like it never happened. Inhale. And then exhale, windmill the hands into either side of that left foot. Option to take a flow, option to come to downward dog, whatever feels good. If you're doing a flow, inhale. Exhale, lower down to the ground. Option for locust pose or bow pose. Inhale. And exhale, hands in line with the ribs. Inhale, pressing up. And exhale, downward dog. Having 2 breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Looking forward, taking that right foot between the hands this time. Coming into our warrior two on this side. So flatten that left foot. Inhale, rotate those hands up and over. Having that right hand forward, left hand back. And again, seeing if that right knee is in line with the second big toe. You feel this opening through the left thigh. Gazing over those right fingers there. Pausing there. Inhale. And exhale. I'm just going to flip round so you don't see my bum all the whole time. From here, we're going to flip the palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Take the feet to the long side of the mat. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, roll those shoulders back. And then exhale, coming to our flat back here. So micro bend in the knees. Forward folding. Good. And then having the hands extended forwards, option, or otherwise keeping them on the hips. Having 1 more breath here. Inhale. And then exhale, completely flattening down. Softening the spine. Swaying, bending the knees, that feels good. Yes and no in the head. And when you're ready, keeping that right hand down first this time. Inhale, extend the left hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale, back to center, swapping sides. Inhale, lifting the right hand up towards the ceiling. And exhale down. Good. From here, just taking again those toes to the corners of the mat, coming into Skandasana. Option just to have a little sway from side to side, getting comfortable here. You can use the hands to help you walk over. You can open the hands up towards the ceiling if that feels good. Really just enjoying this nice movement, this soft sway from side to side. Good, and then when you're ready this time, then bending that left knee, the right leg is extended in Skandasana, having the left hand forwards, extend that right hand up towards the ceiling, gazing into the very tips of the fingers. Inhale. And then looking into the top of the mat, exhale, walking the hands over towards your right foot, having that right hand extended out in front of you. And then when you're ready, seeing if you can lift this left leg off the ground, open the toes up towards the outside, so the hips nice and open. And then maybe seeing if you can extend that left hand up towards the ceiling in line with the shoulder. This right knee doesn't need to be straight. You can keep it nice and bent. Just seeing if you can find your balance there in our crescent lunge. Inhale. And exhale. When you're ready, softly lower that left leg down to the ground, coming into your warrior two. Roll those shoulders back, gaze over the right fingers. Inhale. And then exhale, windmill the hands over that right foot. Option for flow, option for child's pose, or option for downward dog. So whichever feels good for you. And if you're in downward dog, on your next breath, we'll all meet back in child's pose. So lower the knees, take the tailbone down towards the heels. Option to make a pillow for the forehead. Option to sway or sigh. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. We're going to start to cool down the body. So coming to downward dog, just for a breath in between. We're going to take our index fingers forward, tuck the toes, tailbone high. On your next breath, we're going to take our awareness to the right foot. Inhale as you extend it up towards the ceiling. Bend the knee and open the hip. Have a little gaze underneath this right shoulder. Maybe come onto the tips of the right fingertips. Inhale. As you exhale, we're coming to pigeon pose. So draw this right knee up towards the right hand. The foot is coming over towards the left. Sliding this left leg back. And just seeing if we can have a couple moments here, first of all. This is already quite a strong back bend. So if it feels too much, just have the hands slightly further forward and just work a little deeper in towards the outer edges of this right side of the leg. Otherwise, maybe seeing if you can find this length in the spine. So rolling those shoulders back. If you find you have a lot of space underneath this right bum cheek, you just place a pillow or a blanket there. Pausing here. If you feel comfortable here, then just have your right hand out in front of you. We're going to inhale, extend that left hand up and over the body and gaze over towards your left foot. So we're actively thinking of this left hand reaching towards the left foot. So gentle twist here. Option to stay here, and only if it feels okay and you feel up for it, then maybe see if you can draw this left foot in towards the bum. Again, we're keeping the knee in line with the hip. You might find that you can catch the foot. If you've got the foot, you can work on drawing it slowly towards the bum. If this feels fine for you and you want to think about drawing that foot closer towards the crook of the elbow, then that can be your next progression. So just going to whatever feels good for you, pausing there, inhale. And then exhale, softening that leg down. From here, have the hands out in front of you, folding forwards to our sleeping swan, our sleeping pigeon. So allowing the chest to come down towards the ground, working a bit deeper in that hip. Option to keep onto the very tips of the fingers if you still want to allow the chest to open slightly more. Otherwise, you can make this nice and restorative by making a pillow for the forehead. Coming back to the breath. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And exhale from here, softly pressing into the hands. Again, index fingers facing forward. See if you can come straight back to downward dog. So tuck that left toes, slide this right leg back, and start to pedal through the legs. Coming straight onto the other side, we're going to inhale, extend left leg up towards the ceiling, bending at the knee, opening up at the hip. Have a little gaze underneath this left shoulder, coming onto the tips of those left fingertips if that feels good. Inhale. And then exhale, drawing this left knee up towards the left wrist, foot over towards the right hand side. Slide that right leg back. So hips are facing forwards. Roll those shoulders back. Again, option just to make your way to sleeping swan if that feels better for you. Otherwise, having that left hand out in front of you. Inhale, extend the right hand up and over towards the back of the mat. An option just to stay here. Option to maybe lift that right foot off the ground. If you've got the foot, you can work on drawing it in towards the bum. And finally, if you're feeling quite flexy this morning, you can think about threading it, if you're not so sweaty, in towards the crook of the elbow. And our final progression will be mermaid. If you're feeling quite good, you don't need to balance on this left hand. You can think about taking it behind the back of the head. Pausing wherever you are. Inhale. And then exhale, releasing that leg down to the ground if it's up. Taking the hands forward. Inhale. And exhale, softening the body down. So coming into your sleeping swan. Working into wherever feels good for you. Finding that mindful edge, that space where we can feel this softening and releasing, but we're not in pain or agony. In that nice in between, drawing our mind back to the sensations of the body, the sensations of the breath. Maybe even coming back to those pauses, that space between the breaths. Have one more breath here. Inhale. And then exhale, pressing into the hands, coming all the way up. We're going to come to downward dog for one final time. So index fingers forwards, tuck that right foot under, thread the left leg back. Pedal from side to side, yes and no the head. This is just your opportunity to make any movements that feel really good. Have a sigh through the mouth. And then when you're ready, softly coming down towards a seated position. So either crossing the legs underneath you or lowering down to the knees and swinging the legs round. We're going to come straight down onto the back. So just making sure there's some space behind you, keeping the soles of the feet down towards the ground. Have a moment just to allow the body to really rest here. So feel the spine sinking down into the ground. You can have a little wiggle with the hips if that feels good. Good. And as we've been opening up in the chest, we have the option to come to full wheel, which I'll just talk through, but if not, just come to bridge pose, whatever feels good for you. So we're going to draw the soles of the feet up towards the heels. So see if you can just touch the backs of the heels, the knees are in line with the hips. We're going to inhale, press into the feet, the same as we did at the very beginning of class. Making sure those toes are facing forwards, the long end of the mat is the same as the long end of our feet. The back of the head is nice and grounded. So option to stay here. If you want to work into wheel, then flipping the hands behind you so the fingertips facing towards the back of the mat. You might even want just to come here so you feel how this feels in the hands. On your next breath, if you're working to wheel, we're going to lift up onto the crown of the head. So not placing too much weight here, just again feeling those sensations in the spine. If that then feels okay on your next breath, inhale, press into the hands. Again, knees are in line with the hips. Open through chest. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale, softening down. Good. And otherwise, if you're in bridge pose, then softening down, vertebrae at a time, having a little wiggle at the bottom. So taking the pelvis over to one side and the other side. Good. And then when you're ready, drawing the knees back in towards the chest. Making a nice tight ball here, so counterbalancing that back bend. And then when you're ready, have the hands out nice and wide, keeping those knees together. Inhale. And as you exhale, allow the knees to fall over towards the right-hand side, that left shoulder's down. If it feels too much in the spine, then just lower the knees slightly. Don't worry if they don't meet the ground. Releasing any tension through the back of the body. On your next breath, inhale, floating back to the center. And then exhale, knees over towards the left. Maybe gazing over towards those right fingertips. Twist and release. Good. And then your next breath, inhale, softly come back to center. From here, we're just going to place the hands underneath the bum. So just pressing into the feet, making some space. Take the hands underneath the bums, palms facing downwards. We're just going to allow this to come to a variation of knees and legs up wall. So the hands are just allowing us to have a little bit more height underneath the hips. And we're just going to float the legs up towards the ceiling. So if you're by a wall and you'd rather just rest the legs into the wall, you can do that instead. Otherwise, if it feels like you need a little bit more height, you can make fists with the hands, or you can place a block or a pillow underneath the hips. So it's just a variation of legs up wall, which is a really nice, gentle inversion, just allowing the blood to flow back down from the feet towards the heart, allowing this fresh blood to be pumped around the body. So having one more breath here, inhale. And then as you exhale, lower the legs down, coming to your Shavasana. So taking the feet as wide as the mat, hands facing, palms facing upwards, hands to either side of the body. And just imagine someone's gently pulling your hands towards the bottom of the mat, so you find that space between the shoulders and the ears. You can feel that openness through the chest, the heart. And the breath is flowing easily in and out of the body, noticing it, the belly rise and fall. And now just allow your breath to become soft and still. Noticing this space in the body created by our movement, space in the mind. Maybe even space in the breath, noticing those natural pauses between the inhalations and exhalations. Just allowing your body to be soft and still, actively still. These final couple breaths. Om Shanti. And just slowly start to now wiggle the fingers and toes, or roll the ankles and wrists. Maybe rock the pelvis from side to side. Have a nice deep breath in and out through the mouth. Releasing any final bits of tension, and you're welcome to stay here longer or softly make your way up towards a seated position just by rolling over to one side, taking your time. And then when you're seated, again, just allow the crown of the head to grow nice and tall up towards the ceiling. Feel this space between the shoulders and the ears. Hands down onto the knees. Feel that long line of energy rising from the tip of the tailbone connected down to the ground, up towards the crown of the head, shining up towards the sky, the ceiling. And finally, just relaxing the shoulders, releasing the jaw, the tongue. Find that space between the eyebrows. And then on your next inhale, take the hands up towards the ceiling, draw the palms to touch. And exhale, taking them down the center line of the body to sealing your practice. Pausing in front of the heart. And namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for coming this morning for our final element of air. And I'll just come and see everyone. Oof. I hope it's not as hot there as it is here. Because it's very hot in this room. But yes, thank you so much for coming. It's been a lovely time. And next class is on Wednesday if you want to come. If not, I'll see you next Saturday. Have a beautiful weekend and see you soon. Bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Bye. Thanks, Al. Bye.